Freshly prepared, home-delivered, restaurant-quality gourmet meals delivered straight to your home. Choose from over 50-plus gourmet meal options cooked by world-class chefs and delivered frozen, ready to eat within minutes and no commitment. Welcome to the one-shop gourmet food delivery, specializing in affordable options to eat right and feel great. 100% satisfaction guaranteed. Every ingredient is handpicked to the highest standard. And why you should buy from homebistro.com? Restaurant quality, made with natural ingredients, delivered right to your door. Overnight shopping is available. Diabetic, paleo, heart health, and vegetarian options to eat. Doing business since 1999. Courteous, knowledgeable, and professional support. Complete PCI compliant SSL security ordering, and great meals. Choose from some of my favorite dishes: the Mediterranean chicken with orange honey sauce, the charbroiled chicken romesco, or the grilled chicken breast with sweet and spicy vegetables. No matter what you choose, you can't lose with homebistro.com. Eat great, feel good, and save some money with homebistro.com. Hit the link in the description section below for more information. What's up, fam? How y'all doing? Welcome to this installment of TSC Unleashed. Monday, we in the building. Big ups to the family members chiming in the chat. Much love to you and Yearns on this fantastic Monday. Really nice day outside and about. Big ups to JT, brother GM Kev, Tro Blewett, brother Jerry, Revolt Control, Anthony Connerly, and all the family members. Thank y'all for joining us for this edition of TSC Unleashed. I'm Big Q, of course. Uncle Mozzy was my co-host. He'll be joining us momentarily. He had some issues with his Apple computer. Of all computers, Apple. Not a fan of Apple. For righteous reasons. JT, what up, fam? He says, Q, if Dallas let Mike Nolan go, Do you think Sean Payton wants him back? I wouldn't see an issue with Sean Payton wanting him back, but the linebacker job is fulfilled. Maybe we can bring him in as an advisor or, you know, a assistant, defensive assistant, similar to what you've seen a guy like, what's his name, come in before Dennis Allen came in when Rob Ryan was here. So we'll just have to see how that shake out as well. So big ups to the family members. DJ Austin, I see you, fam. Big ups to you. Sub-Zero, what's up, fam? Good to see you in the chat as well. It's been a while, fam. Good to see you in the chat. Nola Boy, Kevin Conley, what's up, fam? Good to see you in the building as well. Big ups to all the family members in the live stream. Please hit a like upon the like button as we will recap week number 7 and also news and notes as well in this episode of TSC Unleashed. So big ups to all the family members in the live stream. Much love to you and yours. Starting it off, fam. Funny thing about it is, man, it was an interesting game, man. No doubt about it, man. Jim Keff says better defensive consultants out there now. There's quite a few, but who has the relationship with Sean Payton? Who will want to work with Sean Payton, knowing this type of temperament? That's something you have to look at as well. Better scouting talent, evaluation trainers. They are that out there, but who's willing to work with Sean Payton, and who is he willing to work with? He has a close-knit group of people that he often likes to use. And as I said, man, I don't know. I don't think that happened. But I don't think Dallas gets rid of him that soon. McCarthy is struggling, and they're going to have to gather the ship. But I think he'll get a little extra time because of the injuries that's occurring. That'll be enough to keep him around. All right, let's keep it going. Let's start off with the Detroit matchup against the Atlanta Falcons in the matchup. Of course, we realize that this was a close one, came down to it. But then Detroit was able to get back to 500 with a 3-3 mark. They beat them 23-22. Atlanta falls to 1-6 on the season. Them guys are 0-4 at home. They're 0-4. So in the 7 games that they played in the season, 4 of which was played at home, they have not won at home the entire damn season. Big ups to you, James. I see you, fam. In this matchup, Matthew Stafford, 25 of 36, had 340 yards, almost 9.5 yards every time he threw the ball. He had a touchdown in the matchup. 108.6 rating. Adrian Peterson and DeAndre Swift didn't do too much. 21 carries, 64 yards in the score. Kenny Golladay was the big hitter. 6 catches, 114 yards. Marvin Jones, 5 catches, 80 yards. Damian Ladola had 3 for 62. Hawkinson, the tight end, 5 for 59 in the score. Matt Ryan finished the game 31-42 for 331, had a touchdown, 105.1 on the rating. And of course, Ty Gurley, 23 carries, 63 yards, had 2 scores in the game for Gurley. 8 catches for Julio Jones, 97 yards. Kelvin Ridley had 5 for 69, almost 14 yards per catch, 1 touchdown as well. Wasn't enough, 23-22, they go down. And now are 1-6 on the year. It's like, at first, you know, and I was happy to see them losing, but this is almost pathetic to the point where I'm feeling sad for the Atlanta Falcons. This type of ridiculousness is even beyond them, but I still enjoy it nonetheless. But at the same time, it's getting quite pathetic, don't you think? All right, let's move to the next matchup. Cleveland Browns. They can beat some of the lesser teams in the league. They took on the Steelers or Baltimore, the heavy hitters. They get their asses folded up. 37-34 in the matchup against Joey Burrow, who had another 40 plus a 45 attempt. He had 47 attempts in this game. And Zach Taylor, who's the coach up there, I think it's Taylor or Snyder, either one of them. Burrow 35 of 47 for 406 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was sacked 4 times, 112.5 on the rating. They got to get the rushing attack going in this matchup. Giovanni Bernard was the top rusher, 13 for 37 in the matchup. Not much balance, but they kept it kind of interesting as of late. But Cleveland was able to pull it out. Baker Mayfield, 22 of 28 for 297, 5 touchdowns in the matchup, a 97.3 QBR. Kareem Hunt balanced the attack with 18 rushes for 76 yards, average 4.2 on the rush. Rashard Higgins was the top target, 6 catches, 110. Harrison Bryant was 4 catches, 46 yards, 2 touchdowns in the matchup as well. And 37-34, it was a close one, could have went either way. Cleveland was able to seize the day. They go 37-34 and improve to 5-2 on the season. So, hey, man, Cleveland, man, At least they're not losing as usual, man. They're actually putting something together here. That's pretty impressive. Pittsburgh, next up on the docket. Pittsburgh Steelers are 6-0. That's right. The Pittsburgh Steelers 16-0. They're 2-0 on the road. Took on a very tough Tennessee Titan club. Went down the brass tacks. They came out with the win 27-24. Big Ben, 32 of 49, 268, had 2 touchdowns despite the 3 interceptions he threw in the game. And that 51.1 QB rate, and they were still able to get the win by a field goal. James Conner, the Terminator, 20 carries, 82 yards in the matchup, average over 40 yards per carry. Juju Smith-Schuster, 9 catches, 85 yards. Dante Johnson had 9 catches for 80 yards. Eric Ebron, 6 catches for 50 yards. Ryan Tannehill on the match, 18 of 30, 220, 2 touchdowns. He was sacked twice. Henry, 20 carries, 75 yards, just under 4 yards a rush for 1 touchdown. Kind of kept them intact. A.J. Brown got going, 6 catches, 153 yards. He averaged 22.5 on his catches per catch ratio. Touchdown, he had a touchdown as well in the game. Corey Davis had 6 catches for 35 in the score as well. Wasn't enough. Tough matchup. Steelers are undefeated. That's right. The Pittsburgh Steelers are undefeated. Moving on. And of course, we had the Carolina Panthers. Came into New Orleans and they fell just by 3. The field goals, ridiculous field goal attempt didn't work thanks to Davenport pushing the kicker out of range. They couldn't capitalize. Saints was ultimately able to march the ball up the length of the field and run the clock out 27-24. A lot of people happy for the win. The Saints they've won 3 in a row, that is. And they're 4-2 after, dropping 2. They're on the plus side of things. Drew Brees, 29 of 36, 287, 2 touchdowns. He was sacked once in the game, had a QBR of 91.0. Maybe they can lay off Drew Brees as he continues to turn in really pretty good performances. Understand, it's not just him. Alvin Kamara, 14 carries, 83 yards, averaged 6 yards a carry. Is what Alvin Kamara did. Latavius Murray, 11 carries, 47 yards, 4.3 on the carry, which is ridiculous. As a team, 29 carries, 138, almost 5 yards per carry. As a team, 1 touchdown was there as well. Saints didn't stick with it. 29 rushes against a team that's a bottom 5 rush defense team. They threw it 37 times, doesn't matter, right? 27-24 is the ultimate result, and they beat this team without Mike Thomas, without Emmanuel Sanders, and great play from young wide receivers, who in particular, Marquez Callaway, 8 catches, 75 yards on 10 targets. Kamara, 8 catches, 65 yards on 8 carries, on 8 targets. Traquan Smith on 4 targets, 4 catches, 54 yards, 13.5 per catch. Deontay Harris, 4 catches on 5 targets, 46 yards, 11.5 per catch, and a score. Jared Cook, 3 catches, 32 yards, and a score for 4 targets. Very efficient play by the young wide receiver core for the New Orleans Saints, as they were able to help, despite the fact that the defense did give up some deep plays. But ultimately, in the end, the Saints were able to capitalize. Teddy Bridgewater, 23-28, 254, almost over 9 yards per throw, 2 touchdowns. He was sacked once. We didn't do anything to make his job uncomfortable. Mike Davis was completely shut down, so the front 7 did their job. And, of course, DJ Moore, who had 4 catches for 93 yards and 2 touchdowns. Remember, DJ Moore did leave the game after suffering a hit, and had he played, who knows, if he had stayed in the game, who knows what kind of damage he was done, because he was getting deep on the Saints secondary. Nonetheless, Saints escaped 3 straight wins. They're they're now 4-2, number 2 in the NFC South, 27-24 New Orleans. All right, moving on to the Bills in the Jets matchup. Buffalo Bills 18-10 over the Jets. The Jets are a complete joke. I don't know why they haven't fired Adam Gase yet. It's totally stupid, but he's still there. 18-10 in the matchup. Josh Hill, 30 of 43, 307 yards with the offense from them. They had 7 yards per throw for him. He was sacked a couple of times, didn't stop his vibe. He even ran 11 times for 61 yards. So he was a top rusher as well. Zach Moss out of Florida, 7 carries for 47 yards. Kid averaged almost 7 yards a rush. In his duty, they just didn't give him the ball enough. Cole Beasley was the top target for Josh Hill. He threw to him 12 times. He caught 11 of them for 112 yards. Tyler Croft, 4 catches, 64 yards. Stephon Diggs, 6 catches, 48 yards off 11 targets. as he was trying to stretch out the field. It was kind of a weird game, but nonetheless, Buffalo won. Sam Darnold, who played 12 of 23, 120, not nothing. He had 2 interceptions. Frank Gore carried the ball 11 times, 60 yards. Not much going on. Jets bottom out 0-7. Both of the Giants and Jets are woeful. The Bills are actually good. What can I tell you, man? New York people are really suffering. They suffer their ass off with this garbagement that's going on up there. All right, let's keep it going, family. We're going to move on to the next topic of discussion, which is, of course, the Cowgirls. The Dallas Cowgirls continue to fall through the flow. Andy Dalton played in the game before he was knocked out with a vicious hit by Bostic, who we're reporting that Bostic is not going to face any charges for the hit he had on Andy Dalton that basically took Dalton out of the game, man. He should, to me, based on what I seen, his ass should have got something, man. He should have really got something, because from what I seen from him, man, that wasn't a legal hit. I mean, even though Dalton was sliding, when they're sliding, they give themselves up like that, you can't touch him, but he lowered himself and popped the hell out of Dalton. His head hit the ground. It was pretty vicious. My charges, I thought Bostic should have got something. They said that they're not going to do anything to him, so we'll just see how that go. All right, we covered the waterfront on more than a handful of games so far. We're going to bring in Uncle Mozzy, who finally got his computer up and running. We're going to advocate for Uncle Mozzy to get him a Android or some type of Windows system, and let's get him off of the Apple standard. All right, Uncle Mozzy, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm all right. Apple is definitely the standard. It had nothing to do with the computer. It was more of the unbelievable amount of tabs that I have on my screen at any one given time. And I think the computer just got a little overwhelmed. From that. Yeah, it got a little overwhelmed from that. Yeah, a couple to a little overheating, because I noticed I had the fan blocked as well. But like we're not too much of a MacBook, bro. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So catch me up to speed. By the way, I picked up Giovanni Bernard on the waiver yesterday, right before game time, and he did wonders for me. So I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm still in the running to win the Sports Coma League. You haven't heard from me for a while, but I am back after a much enthralled week last week, full of ups and downs and roller coasters. We are back in business. Here we are, and I am ready to once again shine my lovely smile down upon the Sports Coma fan base.
All right. Well, the family base is in the building. And the games that we covered up today started off the stream with. We covered, of course, the Detroit versus Falcon matchup. Browns, Bengals, Steelers, Titans, Saints, Panthers, Bills, Jets. And, of course, we were talking about the Cowboys in the Washington game, in which the Washington Waterburgers were able to beat the Dallas Cowgirls 25-3. Wasn't much of a contest. Cowgirls 2-5. Atlanta 1-6. I love it. Minnesota stinks. It's the perfect year. We on a 3-game winning streak. Hopefully we start playing better, but you can look at those last several games. Feel free to chime in any one of those. Detroit, Atlanta, Browns, Bengals, Steelers, Titans, Panthers, Saints, Bills, Jets, and the Waterburgers against the Cowgirls.
Well, not to touch on a bunch of them, because obviously a lot of those teams just don't have any merit. Two teams that don't have merit that we just have to talk about, though. We have to talk about the Washington former you-know-whats versus the Cowboys. I began to watch the game, and I don't know, maybe 30, 40 minutes into it, I realized what kind of game it was going to be, and I kind of just turned it off. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. I mean, you can't get more talented on both sides of the ball than they have. They're pretty much stacked on offense and defense. You complained about your defensive coordinator last year. You complained about your head coach last year. You complained about so much. You had Zeke sat out. He wanted more money. You gave him the money. You paid 2-3 people. Although you slapped Dak with a franchise tag, he still was worth 35, 36 mil. Payday single season. So I mean, everybody for the most part was compensated. The talent was there. The new coaching was there. The new system was implemented. Keep in mind, you're only 4 or 5 years off a new stadium being built for you, and to just fall apart like you did against the team that fell apart a decade ago is just inexcusable. I don't know if they've given up. I don't know what they're gonna do, how they're gonna place it together. But even at this point, if you get in draft picks or if you sign free, you're only gonna bring more talent to an already talented team. Mike McCarthy is a Super Bowl winning coach. So, Mike McCarthy is on the same caliber of Sean Payton and some of the other more winning coaches in the NFL. So I don't know. It will be the equivalent of bringing in Sean Payton as your head coach and a defensive, top-notch defensive coordinator, bias pick, and with all the talent that you had, and still losing horribly with a 2-5 record. I mean, it's inexcusable and unexplainable. That team has just given up. That's what it is. They've just given up, and there's no hope for them for the rest of the year. And I think once Dak went out, then that's what it was. Now, I don't know if this is blowback for the things that happened with Dak and the whole franchise tag thing, and maybe a couple players were offended by it, because those players do rally around Zach. Not around Zach, around Dak. So it could be that. I don't know. But I know what I saw yesterday was not NFL football, much less Dallas Cowboy NFL football. Moving on, with the exception there, I think the Saints did pretty. I think they did pretty good, all things considered. I was glad to see that we, had somewhat of a run game yesterday. And what we talked about last week, we looking for that third guy to step up. I think a star was born yesterday in that game. I didn't like the way the game fared out towards the end, but considering you're down your number one and number two receiver with an aging quarterback in a tough divisional game, going against a quarterback that kind of knows your ins and outs because he had to take the helm for that team for 5 games last year. I think with all of those things considered, you knew it was going to be a tough game, and for them to eke the win out, I mean, I'm not really upset about it.
Very interesting. We'll see what shakes. Dallas got an interesting little situation going on right there, and like I said, so it's pathetic, man. But hey, we winning. That's all that matters, right? Let's keep it moving, man. Next.
Yeah, I guess that's it. But like, I mean, Tampa Bay, man, they're winning as well. Green Bay is winning as well. And right now, we only got that one bye slot this year, and it's shaping up to be a shootout. I'm gonna just be honest with you. It's shaping up to be a shootout in the NFC South. It's shaping up to be a shootout in the NFC West. The NFC East is the only person that's gonna have one representative, and it'll I don't know who it's gonna be at this point. If Dallas can get it together, they still are in the running and have a shot. I mean, Washington still has a shot. Everybody still has a shot. But like, to me, I clearly see Seattle as the front runner, followed by Green Bay, then Tampa and New Orleans. At this point, I think that's the best 4 teams in the division. Unfortunately, the Tampa Bay New Orleans thing can't really happen because somebody has to, ultimately win that division, and the loser will more than likely get a wild card slot, barring other teams like San Francisco or even Chicago can't turn it around and develop a win streak, because we already got 2 black eyes. So if we get another black eye or two and pulling up with a 12-4 record, there could be several teams with a 12-4 record trying to fight for that wild card spot. You see what I'm saying? So it's real sticky, and it remains just to be seen how it's all going to pan out. But those are your tops in the NFC. You're looking at Seattle in that order. You're looking at Seattle, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, and New Orleans as of the last 2-3 weeks. Week one, obviously the Saints look like the best team in the NFL the way they came out and destroyed Tampa Bay. But over the last 2-3 weeks, it's definitely looking like that pecking order. Russell Wilson is looking like the best quarterback in football, and they're looking like the best team, at least in the NFC.
We'll see. It's still very much early. Things could change. Some teams are struggling right now. Can't find to pick it up. That's how the season is, man. Sometimes these teams, they get off to fire starts, but then kind of sizzle and fizzle out toward the back end of the season. But, like that old adage says, not how you start, it's how you finish, right? Okay, let's move on to the next discussion of games. We got the Green Bay Packers up against the Houston Texans. Of course, the Packers, another stiff team in the league, 5-1, 3-1 and away. Aaron Rodgers, 23 of 34, 283, 4 touchdowns in the matchup, smoked Houston. Jamal Williams, 19 carries, 77 yards, 4.1 on the carry. He had 1 touchdown as well. Devontae Adams got going. He had 13 catches off of 16 targets, 196 yards, He had 15.1 yards per catch and 2 touchdowns. Devontae Adams woke up in this matchup in a major way as Deshaun Watson did what he could do. 29 of 39 for 309 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. He was sacked 3 times in the matchup. But once again, they simply don't have the firepower to compete. And they're 1-4 right now, 1-3 at home. So definitely, we probably going to start hearing rumors from J.J. Watt. It's already going to start picking up as they're going to look to kind of rebuild this team around Deshaun Watson into the future. Going into the Tampa Bay matchup, as you mentioned, Tampa, they had no issues with the Las Vegas Raiders, who some people thought were a pretty credible team. Tampa Bay literally took them apart. 33 of 45 for Tom Brady, 369. He had 4 touchdowns, wasn't touched at all in the matchup, by the way. No sacks, no nothing. Stood tall in the pocket, delivered a big performance. Leonard Fournette, 11 carries, 50 yards in the matchup. Ronald Jones had 13 for 34 and a score in the matchup. His top and favorite target on the day was Scotty Miller, 6 catches, 109. He had a touchdown on 9 targets. Chris Goodwin, 9 catches on 9 targets, 88 yards in the score. Gronkowski, 5 catches, 62 yards and the score. And even Leonard got busy catching the ball, 6 catches for 47 yards off of 7 targets. Carr, 24 of 36, 284, 2 touchdowns. A pick. He was sacked 3 times in the matchup. Not much of a rushing game at all for the team. They were able to stifle them. That Tampa Bay defense is for real, and really not much going on. Nelson Aguilar, 5 catches, 107, 1 touchdown in the match. Darren Waller, 6 catches, 50 yards, 1 touchdown. Wasn't enough, not even enough. 45-20, Tampa Bay takes down the Raiders. They're now the top team in the NFC South by a game over New Orleans as it stands. They didn't have a bye week as of yet. 49ers in New England. Now, both these teams, New England struggling as well with quarterback play. Jimmy Garoppolo still didn't look all that well in this one. 20 of 25, 277. He had 2 interceptions in the matchup. Jeff Wilson Jr., who's filling in for their running backs that he had 17 carries, 112 yards. He was a story. 3 rushing touchdowns for Jeff Wilson Jr. in the matchup that helped lift the San Francisco 49ers out of just what they were in. They're now 4-3. Brandon Ayuk had 6 catches, 115 in the matchup. Deebo Samuel's back, 5 catches, 65 yards. Kittles had 5 catches, 55 yards off of 7 targets. Cam Newton was benched. He was 9 of 15. He had 3 interceptions in the matchup. Jared Stidham came in and was basically 6 of 10, 64 yards. He also threw an interception. So, what's the difference? Damon Wilson, 10 carries, 58 yards for them. Not much going on for New England at all. San Francisco smoked them 33-66. Uncle Mozzy, you want to comment on those trio games?
Yeah, San Francisco is for real, bro. They just were injury riddled over the last couple of weeks, and that's why you saw that number 3 pop up in the loss column. But man, these people are for real. Kittles is for real. Samuels is for real. Garoppolo is a little left to be desired, but he's serviceable. The new Brad Johnson, and you know how that went. So yeah, these people are for real, and a lot of people got to watch out. So I mean, it wasn't designed to be a cakewalk by any stretch of the imagination. And I mean, that not to say anything, take anything away from anybody, but I mean, those people are for real. As far as New England is concerned, what we have is a failure to communicate as usual. You have a situation where you have a coach that believes in his system, his antiquated system, so much so that he's willing to do whatever to prove it. He ran Tom Brady off to try to, show the world that it was more him than him. And I mean, it's not really working out. You're playing musical chairs with quarterbacks. Again, Cam was injured last season. He had no OTA. The same thing that I preach about all the time on this show. What you lack this season, that is standard. I mean, that has been standard in Cam Newton's life, all of his professional career, and most of his amateur career. Yeah, as a matter of fact, in high school, in college, he had 2-a-day practices, and they had gangs of OTAs and studies, and it was just different. He had training camps since he's been in the NFL. He was hurt last year. He's going to a new team, new system, coming off an injury, and he had COVID, and you don't want to get him anybody to throw to, you don't want to get him anybody to hand the ball off to, you give him a piece of line, and the defense is shattered, but you're still propping up your system, and you want everybody to believe in your system, and now it's turning into a witch hunt, and it's time to pin the tail on a donkey, and unfortunately, Cam is the jackass.
Yeah, I mean, they got a lot to figure out. Like I said, the running attack is probably the best thing to do, and I'm pretty sure Cam and Belichick will try to figure this thing out. They're currently 2-4, not looking good for them. And Tom Brady kind of winning that little revenge thing right now, as it were. Let's move on to the next trio of games. We've got the Kansas City Chiefs destroying the Denver Broncos. Not much to even look at. Patrick Mahomes, boys, 15 of 23 at 200 yards in this one. One touchdown in the matchup. He was sacked 3 times, but you can see what they were doing. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 8 carries for 46 yards, 1 touchdown. Le'Veon Bell got going, 6 carries for 39 yards in the matchup. Mecole Hardman, 2 catches for 57 yards. Tyreek Hill, as usual, is the guy you got to watch out for. 6 catches, 55 yards in the score, 43-16. They take down the useless Denver Broncos and a soon-to-be-fired head coach as well that sits up there. And, of course, we look at the Chargers. The Chargers got back on the winning side of things. They were able to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 39-29. They improved to 2-4 in the season. Herbert, 27 of 43, 347, 3 touchdowns in the matchup. Still looking good. Herbert also had 9 rushes for 66 yards in the score, so he's doing it with his arm and his legs. Favorite target was Keenan Allen, 10 catches off of 13 targets, 125 in the matchup. Jalen Guyton, that speedster, 2 catches for 84 yards, and he had a deep one there for a score as well. So, hey, man, listen, this young team doing what they're trying to do here, 39-29, they improved the 2-4 over Gardner Minshew and his Jacksonville Jaguar club. Then we look at the Seattle team that Uncle Mozzy talked about, who are currently 5-1. In an interesting matchup with Arizona, guess what? Kyler Murray is definitely preference to compare to Russell Wilson. Their styles are very similar, even though Kyler's very, very much a lot smaller than him. But their styles are very similar. Kyler Murray won that duel. It was really interesting. It came down to an overtime field goal that propelled Arizona 37-34, and that was a big win for Arizona as they give Seattle their first loss of the season, and then they improved to 5-2. That's a lot to say for Arizona, man, with their young squad. 34-48 for Kyler, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception in the matchup. He also was the team's top rusher. 14 carries, 67 yards, and a touchdown there. This guy's hard to stop. DeAndre Hopkins, 10 catches off of 12 targets, 103 yards. He had a touchdown as well. Chase Edmonds, 7 catches, 87 yards off of 7 targets. Fitzgerald got going. The 1,000-year-old wide receiver had 8 catches off of 8 targets, 62 yards in the matchup. Russell Wilson, 33 of 50, 388, 3 touchdowns. He had 3 interceptions. So Russell really kind of holding, but he was also their team's top rusher, 6 carries for 84 yards. Lockett was the top dude. He threw at Lockett 20 times in this game. 15 of them were catches for 200 yards and 3 scores. Wasn't enough. Arizona holds on. They take advantage of the turnovers that Seattle had and were able to get it into overtime, in which they were able to kick a field goal. Uncle Mozzy, man, that was some pretty interesting games. Chiefs matchups. You look at the Chiefs, you look at the Jaguars and the Chargers, and of course Seattle and Arizona. What do you think of those trio of games?
Well, I mean, good man. Chargers are indifferent to me. I'm glad they finally won though, and they're starting to figure something out. Maybe not. It still remains to be seen. I think that the most tantalizing game with that would be the Arizona game because, again, like I just finished explaining, the South and the East are going to be the East, Lord, they must be talking about me. The South and the West are going to be dog fights. I'm talking about week 14, 15, 16 dog fights just to see where everybody sees, who's going to get the bye, and eventually who's going to have the advantage going into the postseason. We all knew who Kyler Murray was. We all knew, what he was capable of doing. And, I mean, at this point, it's just he's putting on a showcase, bro. He's putting on a showcase. He's putting on a clinic. I couldn't be happier for him. I am a Russell Wilson fan as well. So, I mean, the short, small, fast quarterbacks, the undersized quarterbacks, the underdog guy. That's just who I am. That's why I picked the Denver Nuggets, obviously. But, that's going to be a hell of a division. That's going to be, it's going to come down to a 3-team race in that division, and I just can't wait to see. I think Seattle also may have looked past him a little bit, or may have kind of underestimated him. I thought it was the old Arizona. Seattle just didn't play well yesterday. They just had a bad day. That doesn't mean they're a bad team, or Arizona's just this remarkable team. Because we've had teams. I mean, if you remember, this reminds me of the Buffalo team of like 3 or 4 years ago. Remember they came out like 5-6-0, and then that was a wrap. They like tanked the next 7 games, and they finished the season like 9-7. I don't know if you remember that year. But this is what that reminds me of. Hopefully for them, it'll turn out a lot better. Or not hopefully for them, but I mean, again, this is what the Saints need to be worrying about. You only got 4 division leaders, 1 bye, and you only got the 2 wild card slots. So knowing that, you see that Arizona and San Francisco and Seattle, all 3 of those teams could potentially either be a division winner or a wild card contender. So I mean, it's been this way for the last 2-3 seasons. This is not the time to barely win, kind of win. It might come down to an ugly situation where an 11 or 12 win team might not make the playoffs. I hope that doesn't come down to that, and I hope that we're in that number for the division winner. But right now, we're back a half a game, and we got to figure something out. But I mean, those teams did really good yesterday on that trio. 2 indifferents, and definitely Arizona stepped up and kind of made some noise. That was a statement win for them. That's good for that team.
Yeah, and speaking of the other teams that's left in there, we got the Rams. You got to throw in there too. They're 4-2 and 2-0 at home. They host the Bears tonight on Monday Night Football, which is the last NFL game we're going to cover. We're going to preview this one. Chicago going into Los Angeles. They're 5-1, 3-0 on the road. They got an undefeated team at home. This is a really nice Monday night matchup as Chicago walk into there. A lot of people picking the Rams to beat the Bears because they don't believe in Nick Foles, who's hasn't been somebody you can look at and say, yeah, he's going to do some great things. But on the season, 95 of 152, 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 878 yards. But the Bears respond with Nick Foles at the helm as opposed to what Trubisky was doing in there. Goff, on the other hand, 128 of 190 has 1,570 yards on the season, 10 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Montgomery's the top rusher for the Bears, 82 carries, 305 yards, 1 score. Henderson, 72 carries, 348, 3 touchdowns for the Rams. And then, of course, Robinson is their top target, 40 catches, 474, 2 touchdowns. Cooper Kupp is the man for the Rams with 31 catches, 374, 2 touchdowns. And, of course, we got Khalil Mack will play in the matchup from what we're hearing, the reports that we're looking at as well. And it's going to be interesting. The Rams coming to this matchup 25.3 on the average points per game, holding people to just 19 points flat. And of course, the Bears just 2 points above average with 21.3, but holding you to 19.3. So 2 stiff defenses on the field at the same time. Although that that Chicago do give up 113 yards per rush and 239 yards through the air, 231 given up by the Rams, 109 given up by the Rams on the ground. So which one of these teams get the win? This is going to be a tough game. Which team gets the win on Monday night, Chicago or Los Angeles Rams in your charge, Uncle Mozzy?
I'm gonna have to go with the Rams, bro. But I mean, they're mirror teams to me. I mean, they can pretty much go either way. It just depends on. I mean, honestly, at this point, it depends on each one of them's starting quarterbacks. I mean, you got can Nick Foles find that magic that he once had? I mean, can Jared Goff be the quarterback he was that led them begrudgingly and by way of NFL deceit to the Super Bowl? You just don't know which quarterback you're gonna get. But outside of that, they're pretty much the same team to me anyway. And they're in pretty much the same predicament. They're fighting for their life and fighting for their playoff hopes and dreams as well. When they could also be a division winner. So I mean, it's and 6-7 games in, which is still early in the season, but I mean, all of these teams are looking pretty identical. There's not, it's either you're at the top or you just completely ass. There's not like the middle of the pack teams, kind of wild card team. You're either a 10+ win team or you just nothing. The 8-8 and 9-7, and sometimes even a 7-9 thing this season just simply doesn't apply. So to me, they look like the same team, but I'll definitely take LA because I think that the quarterback play and the receiver play is going to be the difference in this game. I just don't think Chicago is there quite yet. I don't think Nick Foles kind of has wrapped his mind around that offense. I think he's still trying to take in the fact that he's got another starting job and he has to produce the magic. I just don't. I think that he may try to overcompensate because this is his last shot to be a starting quarterback. Not saying he can't be a journeyman from here on out as he was before he won the Super Bowl, but this is his last shot at being a starting quarterback in this league. That could lead to a bunch of overcompensation on his part, trying to prove to not only himself but his team and the rest of the NFL that he's a winner.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Chicago on this one here, Uncle Mozzy. They're on a 2-game winning streak. They did beat Tampa Bay in a close one. They were able to take down Tampa Bay. The Rams coming off of wins over the San Francisco 49ers, who was kind of beat up. They also, they lost to the 49ers, 24-16. But they beat sorry teams like Washington, the Giants, and Philadelphia. And they lost to, even though they put up a pretty good game against Buffalo, they lost to 3. Still undecided on how good this Ram club is. I like Chicago, especially when I think they get that pass rush against the Rams going. We'll see how they act. I just think that the Chicago Bears will get this win. All right, let's move on to some college football, man. Top 25 action. Wisconsin, number 14 ranked in the nation, 45-7 over Illinois in the matchup. We go to Clemson. Clemson, they're not dealing with Hurricanes C-19, are they? Uncle Mozzy's words. They take down Syracuse 47-21. Alabama.
Syracuse, right?
They're not dealing with anything. 48-17. Alabama destroys Tennessee as well. Notre Dame 45-3 off of the Pittsburgh team. Nebraska, they lose 52-17 up against Ohio State, ranked 15th and number 5 in the nation. Number 17 ranked Ohio State go down to number 6 ranked Oklahoma State, 24-21. Really compelling game. And then a really interesting big upset as Indiana, that's right, the Hoosiers beat Penn State 36-35. That was a really interesting game, especially how it ended. It was pretty good. Cincinnati, number 9th ranked in the nation. They were able to take down number 16th ranked SMU 42-13 with no problem. Virginia continues to struggle this season. They lose to Miami 19-14. And of course, the Hurricanes, the 11th ranked. BYU, 12th ranked in the country, were able to take down Texas Tech pretty easy, 52-14. Number 14 ranked North Carolina over number 20 ranked North Carolina State, 48-21. Michigan, 18th ranked in the country, beat 21 ranked Minnesota 49-24. Virginia, they fall at their 19th ranked, but they lose in an upset to Wake Forest 23-16. You look at Kansas State, who are 20 ranked, they beat Kansas 55-14. 22 ranked Marshall, that's right, Marshall. They beat Florida Atlantic 20-19. And finally, 25th ranked Coastal Carolina, that's right, Coastal Carolina, ranked 25th in the nation, not the LSU Tigers, but Coastal Carolina, 28-14. They beat Georgia Southern on the top 25 sheet. Uncle Mozzy, you want to comment on that before we go to our last article to close the show?
LSU, and then I'm not gonna come. I'm not into it. I mean, to be honest, it's cool or whatever, but they got this Big Ten hype going around, like they haven't had like an extra month and a half to prepare outside of everybody. So when they come out and like it's just this, like, oh my God, Ohio State is just whatever. I don't see it. I mean, I see a group of teams that had extra time to prepare, where they can ink out all the mistakes that the LSUs and some of the other schools have been making. They've had time to work out those kinks over the last month and a half, and they won't be penalized for it in the polls. They're not going to take anything into account going into the BCS, and there's just got to be a better way. Yeah, they're gonna come out. They're gonna dominate. They play less. They play weaker competition. They've had extra time to prepare, but they're gonna be just awarded a trophy. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, well, yeah, these guys are great. I don't see it. If you give me an extra month and a half to prepare, especially after I can see what everybody else's deficiencies are away and like in the background without having any penalty, it wasn't like they forfeited those games and refused to play due to COVID. They didn't have to worry about any of their players getting suspended or games getting canceled for COVID or getting moved for COVID. They didn't have to worry about any of that. But now, all of a sudden, they just come out of the blue and we're a top 10 team in the country. We're going to beat the brakes off the people we're playing, and we're better than everybody, even though we had an extra month to prepare. I just don't go for it.
All right, there go Uncle Mozzy stating his case for the SEC. All right, let's move on to our final article for the show, and that's of course a little baseball for the family members out there, baseball fans. As Clayton Kershaw leads the Dodgers to beat the Devil Rays. That was the other day, and now they're within one win of winning the World Series in the World Series matchup. Dodgers and the Rays, man, what can I tell you? The Dodgers looking at another shot at the World Series is going down, so we'll see how that shakes. In baseball, a lot of stuff going on, man. A lot of stuff going on in the sports world as the schedules are weird, man, so it's hard to look at it. But big ups to Clayton Kershaw, man. He had a hell of a game that helped the Dodgers be able to get within one win of the World Series, so we'll monitor that as well. So that'll do it, family, for this episode, that's right, of TSC Unleash. That's right, family, Unleash is in the building. Thank all of you guys for tuning in for this episode. And TSC Unleash comes at you Monday through Friday. We'll try to keep it between 12 and 1, sometimes 2, depending on our schedule. But still in all, y'all just be looking out for the notifications. And just to let the rest of the family members know, if you have an Android, we have the app, the Sports Coma app. That's right, it's available. It's available on your Google Play Store. That's right, you can go on Google. If you have an Android, the iPhone app will be coming out real soon, hopefully by Friday of this upcoming week. We'll have that one available for you as well. And also, the PRO Media Network is now on Roku and Fire Stick. So if you guys have Fire Stick or Roku, the PRO Media Network is on. It has channels on those platforms as well as we continue to grow because of your support. So I'd like to thank my co-host Uncle Mozzy for chiming in on this episode of TSC Unleashed. We'll be back tomorrow with more TSC episodes all the way out until Friday, like I said. And then, of course, later on today, the TSC will come at you as we'll cover more Saints news and notes. We'll open up the phone line, recap the game from yesterday as well, get more commentary from the family members who didn't get a chance to chime in on yesterday's show, as we went 3 hours in on that thing. So big ups to the family members. Thank y'all for joining us today, and we'll see you later. Peace.